Good evening, folks. This is Mark Arline, principal of Staten Island Tech, and I want to welcome all of our families, our parents, students, guardians, caretakers of the class of 2022 to Staten Island Tech's Senior Information Night Part 2. I want to thank you all for taking the time to join us this evening. And it's really, over the past 48 hours, it's just been an exciting homecoming and start of the 2021-22 school year. I hope for all of you it's been a smooth start. I hope for all of you it's been a productive start. I hope the information that we've been sharing over the past few weeks, and especially these past 2 days, has been clear. It's going to take a little bit more time to get the kinks out. We haven't had this many people in the building in over a year and a half. But I must say, over the past 2 days, it's gotten smoother very quickly. It's been fantastic to see our students once again. And our faculty and staff are just overjoyed and elated to have been able to get to this point, and really just get back into what we're known for doing together oh so well. And one of those things is one of those many things, preparing our students for the next 4 years that follow high school. And beyond that in their careers and lives. So today marks that next step in that journey, put this final year upon us, and it's going to be a memorable, incredible, phenomenal, and fun year. Mr. Terusa, our coordinator of student activities, is going to be kicking off our meeting tonight, giving our senior update, and followed by that, Assistant Principal of Pupil Personnel Services and College Admissions, Ms. Kirschbaum, along with our new, not a new face to the Staten Island Tech family and community, but certainly a familiar one and a very well-prepared and talented one in that of Miss Ellen Devine, our new college admissions counselor. So we're really excited to share all the information that we have for you, being this is part 2 of our 2-part Senior Information Night series. There will be a Q&A session that follows Ms. Kirschbaum's presentation. And you'll see in the YouTube Live, in the comment section, you certainly can post questions. And from time to time, when we actually do a Q&A, I'll take some of those questions, project them onto the screen, and we'll get some of our guests to answer those questions. Just a little bit of a preview of next Tuesday, the same time, 7 p.m., Tuesday, September 21st, we will have our new parent information session for our parents, as well as our PTA meeting, our first PTA meeting of the school year. So we invite you to join us for that as well. So we have a lot of information to share tonight, so we're going to get started by bringing on our beloved coordinator of student activities, who's been doing just a phenomenal job with our student organization members and all of our faculty and staff in welcoming our students, Mr. Thomas Terusa. Mr. Terusa, how are you?
Thank you, Mr. Ryan. Hope everyone's doing well. I just wanted to come on, thank everyone.
Mr. Terusa, you're muted. I muted myself first.
Can you hear me now? It's saying it's on.
Try now, Mr. Terusa.
Is that better?
I can hear you now.
All right. So I was just saying thank you and welcome. I hope everyone's getting off to a good start. It's great seeing everyone come back, even though it's still not exactly what we'd love to have, right? First, I just sent out an email where if you would like to open up the senior letter, I sent it out as a reminder just to go through it quickly. I won't be long. I won't take up too much time. I just wanted to go over certain things as we enter the school year. Again, kind of without all the answers, especially with some of the bigger topics at this moment. But we're working, as always, we're working through them to try and make sure we can plan the best way we can. First things, if you're looking at the senior letter that I have it in front of me, I just wanted to go over that chart where, our senior dues this year is $350 total. Not to go into everything, just, the last few years we've received a lot of donations In the past, it was 390, then 375. We can't really go by last year because there was a lot more funding and some donations that we received that, to be honest with you, even something as simple as New York City Department of Ed funding and what we're allowed to pay for, the truth is we won't know that right now. So we were still able to technically lower it from where we were 2 years ago and continue to get you as much as we can for your dollar. And hopefully we can make it a great senior year. Your senior dues, it includes things like your senior breakfast. It includes your senior t-shirt, your cap and gown, graduation venue, your senior sweatshirt, the senior barbecue, your yearbook. We do not accept individual payments for certain individual items. You have to pay and receive all of it. That's how it always is. If you need or have any financial questions or financial help, I recommend go to your guidance counselor. There is a procedure to help if you qualify for certain student assistance. So don't be afraid to reach out. But again, that would go directly through your guidance counselor, and then it will come back to me, and we go over the details. Okay. You can pay. I've sent out the Opera link. I know Opera can be pretty annoying at times, but it's very useful because it is set to continue to remind you to observe the senior letter and at least click and accept it. Now, this year, you do not have to pay on Opera because it is nice to have our SO store reopened. So you will be able to pay in person by cash or check. If you're going to pay by check, please have it made out to Staten Island Technical High School. And in the memo line, please write senior dues. You can also make a full payment of $350, or you can pay in two parts, $175 each. To stay on track, the first $175 is due by October 4th. That covers things early on, like deposits, your senior breakfast, your senior sweatshirt, things that we order earlier on. The other $175, or the total, is due by January 18th. It is important to remind everyone and point out that excuse me, senior dues is not guaranteed, meaning if you don't pay, you will not be able to participate in certain things or receive the yearbook. So if those things are important to you, again, in order to come to the senior barbecue, in order to go to those type of events, you must participate and purchase senior dues. And it is considered an extracurricular. So as always, if you have questions, please feel free to email me. But that covers kind of senior dues. For senior events, we already had one of the most important senior events, or at least it started, your senior pictures. We had Irvin Simon, who was a new photography company for us, started senior pictures on September 9th and 10th. It seemed like we had a great turnout. It looks like we collected about slightly over 200 of you guys were able to come in, have your photos taken. And the makeup date is scheduled for October 13th. So if you did not have, or you were not able to come in for your senior photos on one of those 2 days, you are more than welcome. I will be sending out the information once I get the final list of who we did not get pictures for, and make sure that you know and are aware that you can come October 13th to have your senior pictures taken. The senior pictures are important. It is your yearbook photo. Okay. The next step for senior photos will be that you will be receiving email updates from the vendor directly, and you will be able to choose your own yearbook photo and pose. So it is important. If you miss that cutoff, they'll just supply one for me as long as you took a photo. So please continue to pay attention to that. October 13th. Again, October 13th is an important day for seniors because it is the senior breakfast. It is a day where we normally do your cap and gown measurements. I can tell you now that I have already received updates from our vendors that just like last year and kind of what we've been working through the last 18 months, items are back ordered. So kind of being on top of all of this information, and the earlier you submit it so that I can get it in so that we can celebrate for you guys is very important and very crucial. So again, October 13th, we're hoping to be able to have it in person. We're hoping to be able to have it where you can have a breakfast in the cafeteria following all the in-person school rules. And we are going to try to take the class of 2022 rooftop photo. We'll figure out hopefully the best way to do it, whether we have to spread out, be socially distant. But our goal is to hopefully be able to bring that back for everyone and be able to include that in the yearbook. Also on October 13th, I have sent out the link. I'll be sending it out again as a reminder. Your senior blurb, quote, and baby picture collection is due. Again, anytime I'm sending out something for the yearbook, we're dealing with deadlines that come from an outside company. So it's very important to realize the earlier you get that information in, the better it is for the students specifically that are working on the yearbook, so that we can stay on top of all that important stuff for you guys. So again, I'll be sending that out. Please take the time to think of a blurb, think of a quote, look for a baby picture, upload it into that Google form, and submit it for us. Okay. I'll also be sending out the first yearbook personal advertisement. Pay attention to those emails because it usually comes with a discount code. So if you enter the discount code, you'll be able to get it for a little cheaper instead of the full price. But you have to make sure that you plug it in. You will have two options when it comes to the advertisements. You can create it yourself, or you can upload pictures and type in what you would like your message to be in order for someone on the yearbook staff to create it for you. So again, it's pretty simple. It's pretty, everything's right there for you. Like I said, it's a pretty nice, simple program. Moving forward. So again, to be transparent and clear, for the most part, anything that's coming up in the second half of the year, the truth is we don't have enough guidance on it just yet. So we have it planned, we have it booked, we have ideas, we are flexible and adaptable, and we will be able to, we know from the last 2 years that we'll be able to pull certain things off. We are not sure how at this point, right? For example, senior awards in the senior letter, date and time is to be announced. You look at senior day. Right now, it is scheduled for Friday, June 10th. That is your senior barbecue, your yearbook distribution, your cap and gown distribution. I would like to hope that we're able to do it in a traditional way. However, as the year continues to go and develop, we'll monitor that as soon as we get the items. If we feel it's better to do a distribution, we will take care of that. I see a question. Yes, you will. Again, you will be able to pay your senior dues in cash. You could go to the SO store right outside the cafeteria. You can pay in cash, check, money order. So yes, you do not have to pay through Opera only. It's there as another option. Again, you could bring the checks right to the SO store. Again, C51 right outside the cafeteria. Just to go back a little bit, like I was saying, senior day, your barbecue, it's also graduation rehearsal. You usually get your senior shirts. So again, it's scheduled for Friday, June 10th. It's usually indoors and outdoors for the barbecue. And, I'm very hopeful that we'll be able to do it. Last year, we were able to do one differently where you came in kind of just for that, the seniors. And it turned out to be a very nice day as well. So like I said, we're pretty confident we'll be able to do something. But kind of things in the spring and early summer definitely have to come with it to be determined for now. And I'll continue to update you. Graduation rehearsal. We like to usually have a separate graduation rehearsal where we hand out graduation tickets. Again, to be determined. We're not sure where, meaning we usually have it at CSI. We don't know if we're going to have it inside. We don't know if we're going to be allowed to have it inside right now. We may have to have it outside. Last year, we had to do 3 ceremonies on our field with a capacity of 500 people per ceremony. Again, those are options because they are what was allowed. But the truth is we're not sure. I'm not saying I expect that to happen again, just as we were in the same situation last year and the year before that, we'll share information as soon as we get it. And I appreciate you just being patient and hanging in there. I mean it. Once we get it, we share it and we put together a plan so that we can give you guys information in a timely manner. What I can say about graduation is to please expect it, because I know it's a big event. Obviously, people may be traveling, making plans. Please remember, we will aim for the last 2 weeks of June again. So within that time range is our goal, so that anywhere right now, that's where we're trying to figure out the specific date as we get information. But again, it is very early. Not sure the number of tickets and so on. So just hang tight. Once we have it, again, I'll share that. Your senior prom is an interesting one. As of right now, there are no DOE trips that encourage kind of parties, events approved at this time. There's no overnight trips allowed. So I apologize at this moment. The senior trip to Disney, as I put in the senior letter, which didn't look like it would be possible right now, unfortunately, is still not possible. If trips or things and guidance open up and change, of course, we'll try to adapt. I'm not saying that we'll be able to plan something to Disney, but if we're able to plan certain trips, we will try to do what we can, right? The prom right now is scheduled to be at the Grand Marquis in New Jersey. I'm being honest, the price is listed at $155. We probably will have to monitor that. It could change. We may have to bring it within New York City limits. And the price, obviously, I'll try to keep it around that as best as I can. But those are kind of the regulations that we're dealing with. And again, like I said, full transparency, there's nothing to hide here. And I want us, we're all in this together to make sure we can celebrate the class of 2022 however we can, right? Like I said, for the most part, that kind of covers, the key components to senior year. I never usually read it word for word to make sure, so it doesn't come off like, I'm preaching to you guys. So please read through the remainder of it with the graduation disclaimer, the discipline and what could happen with the violations of the citywide discipline code. Please remember, and I mean this because it's kind of a common myth. Prom is an extracurricular. It's not guaranteed for seniors. Breaking certain violations of the New York City DOE discipline code can remove you from senior events. So please make sure you're paying attention to that. Please don't, you definitely don't want to do something, whether it's by accident as a harmless joke or however it may appear, and then it winds up where you can't participate in certain senior events and so on. So please pay attention, read through the remainder of the senior letter. There's information about the graduation survey on there, which will come at a later point. Selection of the valedictorian and salutatorian, and so on. Like I said, we really are in this together. We are looking forward to having a great school year. We're looking forward to celebrating you guys. Just please stay on top of the information. Seniors, if you have not joined the senior Google Classroom, please do so. I post in there and I attach assignments. They're not assignments. I'm not going to sit there and grade them, but I help with it helps with the timelines and everything, so that you are handing things in a timely manner. I did see one question. I know I didn't get to answer it just yet. Can you book? So right now, I'm still waiting for the list of who has not shown up for senior pictures. More info will come as soon as we have that. It may even just be a walk-in. So if you didn't take your picture, you could just come in because it's during the school day and there's the senior breakfast going on that same day. So again, it's an important day. The photographers will be there. So please, I will be reaching out individually when I get the list of who did not have their photos taken to make sure you're aware to be there. Other than that, like I said, I hope you're enjoying the start to the school year. I hope you guys have a lot of fun. I hope you get involved. We have a lot of great things planned and moving forward. The students involved in the student organization and the student government have been working the entire summer to plan things for you guys that may look different, but again, have a lot of fun. And like I said, just one quick example, something like a Spirit Week where we usually have the grade wide competition, it's going to be year long. So please make sure you go to the link, purchase your shirts. It counts as your tickets. It's going to be fun. Be involved. It will help you enjoy and get more out of your senior year. And I'll be there along the way for whatever you guys need. Don't be afraid to stop by C52 if you have questions or just to say hi. And check your emails. You'll be receiving a lot of them from me. All right. Thank you guys. Have a good night. I really appreciate the time and hope you guys found this helpful. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Mr. Truce. I really appreciate you spending some time bringing us up to date on all the senior festivities that are about to happen. Have a great night, and thank you.
Thank you. You too.
Okay, and now at this time, I'm going to welcome Miss Alexis Kirschbaum, our Assistant Principal of Pupil Personnel Services and College Admissions. Hello, Ms. Kirschbaum. How are you doing?
Good, thank you. Good evening, everybody. Mr. Erlenwine, if you could bring Miss Devine up, she's going to begin. And then I'm going to follow her.
Fantastic.
Okay, first I would like to just say, I'm very excited to start this new position, and I realize I'm following in some very big footsteps, so bear with me as I learn the whole process here. So next, we're going to talk about the submissions deadlines, very, very important. So the college deadlines for early decision is November 1st. So that means that everything that, if you are applying early decision, that you need to get all your documentation to the college office by October 4th, no later. So you might wonder why there's that discrepancy in time. Is many of you applying early, so we need time to process all the paperwork through the college office. There's a lot for us to do on our end too, so we need the time to do it. So October 4th is going to be that deadline. The early decision, early action, restrictive early action, you usually receive those within the results of that in the first week in December. As soon as you know whether you have been accepted or deferred, you're going to let us know so that we can follow up with any documentation that we need to send out. If you are denied, then we need to know that as well. Okay, so we want to make sure that we make the regular decision deadlines for you if you don't make the early decision. Okay, so the college due dates for regular decision are generally December 1st, January 1st, and then they continue on. Some are rolling. That means they'll continue through the year until they fill their class, and then that's that. So you have to check each college website individually, unfortunately, to find out what their particular deadlines are. So the college office deadlines, again, October 15th, so that we can get things done in a timely fashion. Any changes for applications with January 1st deadlines must be submitted by November 30th to the college office. Okay, so the Common App. Hopefully most of you have already begun this, and from judging by some of the emails I've received, you are in the thick of it, so that's great. This is just gonna kind of push you along if you haven't started and help answer some questions that you might have. So you have to submit your application on the Common App website, so you're going to go on there and create it. The most important thing that you can do right now for us is to make sure that the FERPA is signed and that you match your Common App to the to Naviance, because you're doing your work through the Common App and we are doing our work through Naviance. In order for us to send out the information, those two steps have to be done. So make sure that you complete the FERPA. The FERPA release authorization is within the recommenders and FERPA section of the My Colleges tab, and the release authorization link must be checked with the FERPA decision. So if you don't release a permission for us to do this, then we're not going to be able to send your transcript, your letters of recommendation, all those supporting documentations. So you must do that. So then in regards to your recommenders, in order, well, no, I'm sorry. I'm a little bit lost here. Okay, so you can only see the recommenders in FERPA section once you've added at least one school to your application. So you can't jump over that step. So you might not know all the schools that you want to add, but at least put in one, and then you'll be able to see the recommenders in FERPA section, and then you'll be able to add your, connect to Naviance and match and add your recommenders, teacher recommendations. Okay, next. Okay, students must add counselors and teachers through Naviance and other recommenders and advisors through the Common App. The teachers and the counselors will log into Naviance. Hopefully you've already spoken to your teachers about this in this last spring. And if not, hurry up and do so. It's getting a little bit late here. And your counselors as well. So the fees for colleges are different for every school. So again, you have to go and you have to check and be sure that you have the right fee for each college that you're applying to. There are supplements pretty much for every college on the Common App. You'll have the Common App essay to write plus whatever it is that the college is asking you to do. And if you don't complete the supplement for the college, then your application is going to be considered incomplete. So please pay attention to completing all the documents on your end that's necessary. Okay, so they're continuing this option for answering this COVID question for 2021, 2022. And it's up to you whether or not you want to do it. If you feel like there's something in particular that you want to explain, that due to COVID, certain things have impacted your ability to do well, or whatever it is that you need them to understand, you have 250 words to do so. It's not necessary, but if you do want to do it, you still have that option for this year to do so. Okay, so it's going to ask you, do you wish to share anything on this topic? You say yes or no, and then if you say yes, you put in the information, 250 words, and that will appear in the additional information section of the application. And just be mindful of the word limit. Next.
Ms. Devine,
Yes.
do you want to stop and pause and just take some questions for what you've covered so far? Because there's a few questions on the, if you could see on the comment section.
I don't have.
Okay, so let me read some to you if you don't mind. So I'll just answer a few of the questions. So this is an answer to, sorry, excuse me. Let me just go back up. There's a lot of questions. Okay. In the meeting in June, it was mentioned that we need to have ED and EA decisions by October 4th. That's it, right? So.
Correct.
So what kind of documentation? So just to make note of that, you have to make sure that, your application on the Common App, you have to look at the due dates on your application and make sure that you submit before that due date. In terms of what the information you have to give us, that has to be done by the dates that we give. How do we submit this? Do we go in person to the college room? No, I'm going to explain how the way in which all your documents will be submitted. Elizabeth asks, besides the Naviance survey, are there any other forms we need to complete for recommenders? No, you need to complete the Naviance survey. You need to make sure you go into Naviance and you request them as recommenders, and that should cover it at this point. What should be submitted by the college deadline versus the college office deadline? And that's going to be your yellow sheet needs to be submitted by the due date. So we're going to talk about that after Ms. Devine gives her presentation. Ms. Devine, do you want to answer what exactly is FERPA?
So FERPA it's a privacy act that you're waiving your rights to read the recommendations that your, the people that you've asked to write for you have written. So you're saying that it's okay for us to submit without you seeing them.
Okay. Mrs. Wong asked if the FERPA release is in Naviance. Yes, that's correct. It is in Naviance. Nicole asked if the slideshows can be saved and printed. The slideshows will be emailed as well as uploaded onto the college office Google Classroom, which I will speak about as well after Ms. Devine. I don't know how many more. There's a lot. Okay, we're getting there. We're getting there. So Fanny says, if we have outside help for the Common App, can we follow the college deadlines in lieu of the SITHS deadlines? Absolutely not. You follow the Common App deadlines for your application to college. You follow our deadline for the yellow sheet, which I'm going to talk about. The yellow sheet is what informs the college office what colleges you're planning on applying to, and as well as what type of due date. This way, all your supporting documentation, we have enough time to have that ready, and we know we have when we need to send that to the college. So Mitchell answered Gary's FERPA question. Mandy asked, do we need to have some email address for both the Common App and Naviance? Ms. Devine?
I'm sorry, could you say that again?
Do we need to have the same email address for both the Common App and Naviance?
Yes. If you don't use the same email, then it can get very confusing. So make sure that you decide what your email is going to be and use that.
Sophia asked, how are we getting counselor recommendation letters? So Sophia, 95% of the 12th grade student body, their letter, which is considered the counselor recommendation or the school letter, is going to come from Miss Devine because she is the college guidance counselor. Some students have a specific relationship or some type of agreement with their own guidance counselor to write their recommendation letter. That would be their academic counselor, the other guidance counselors, but that is something that they speak to their counselor about privately on the side. Miriam, what has to be submitted by October 15th for regular admission? Again, the yellow sheet, we'll talk about that. How should we connect our recommenders on Naviance to our Common App account? I tried to link it, but it's not working.
Okay, so that goes back. If you roll back the page to that section, you have to, within the Common App, you have to add at least one college. And then the link will pop up in the Common App to sign the FERPA. You sign it, and then it will say link to Naviance, and you say yes. And then it all goes. And then every time you add a college, it will automatically update into Naviance. But you have to do that first.
So Angie's asking, what exactly is due to the college office by the early deadline? Our full college application. Again, your college application, your Common App essay, everything that you need to do to apply to your college has to be done by you before that college is, obviously by the college's due date. The yellow sheet, which we're going to talk about, it needs to be submitted by a certain date, as well as your teacher recommendation letters. So if you're applying early decision or early action, you should be alerting those teachers who have agreed to write your letter that you have a certain date that you need those letters uploaded to Naviance by your teachers. So Fanny, that should answer your question. Essays, again, you need to make sure you're going by your college due date for any applications you're doing. We are responsible for your supporting documents. Okay, that's your school profile, that's your transcripts, that's your letters of recommendation that we send. All those things. You take care of the actual application part. Ms. Devine, Jackie asked, will Ms. Devine be writing the counselor rec letters for the classes? she was a guidance counselor for, or will it be the new counselor?
Yeah,
I think I answered that question.
you did. You did.
Okay, so I'm going to go up to Barbara's question, and I'm going to have you continue, Ms. Devine, okay?
Okay.
All right, so there's a lot. Okay, do outside recommendation letters, are they submitted to the college office, Ms. Devine?
No, the outside recommendations go through the Common App. You'll see that there's a place on the Common App to add an outside recommendation. Just be mindful of adding. We suggest that you have 2 recommendations, one from a humanities teacher and one from a STEM teacher, and then you get the council letter. So that's 3 from the school. It's a lot of reading for the college reps. When they get all these applications, they have to read all this documentation. So sometimes less is more, as they say. So be mindful if you're going to add an extra letter, that it's a really impactful letter, because otherwise it's just one more thing for them to read, and it may not particularly help you.
Okay, so I'm going to continue. I'm going to let Ms. Devine continue on. Mr. Erlenwine is going to give me a screenshot of some of these questions, even though we'll continue to answer questions, but I'm going to also create an FAQ based upon the questions that you're asking. But remember, keep in mind that you're watching a presentation, so you're going to have this presentation as a resource to refer back to, because I'm going to upload it, okay? And so I'm going to also email it to you. So I'm going to have Ms. Devine finish her presentation, and then I will continue with my presentation. Okay.
All right. So we're done with the COVID.
Okay.
All right. So if you are applying to a school that does not participate in the Common App, for example, University of California and Georgetown, then you have to apply through their website and submit it through whatever platform they are suggesting for you to do. We need to know that, which is why when Ms. Kirschbaum talks about the yellow sheet, you'll understand more how important that is, because you're going to indicate each school, whether it's early, regular decision, whatever it's going to be, so we know what we have to do on our end. So then you're going to pay the fee. This is back to the school specific. You have to pay the fee online or request a fee waiver if you're eligible from the college. And just while it's on my mind, in order to be eligible, we determine eligibility through the school lunch forms. So please make sure that those get done. Otherwise, there's no way for us to determine whether or not you're eligible for a fee waiver. And then enter the college on your Naviance accounts once you've matched them. That's for school specific. Okay, next. Okay, CUNY. So CUNY has also waived their, for 2022, their SAT requirements. So it's going to be optional. Whether you have it or not, they're not going to be asking you for it. So just keep that in mind. It's a very simple process. They can access your transcript easily because they're within the public system. So we don't really have too much to worry about that. And then you can go onto the website, cuny.edu/admissions undergrad, and go to the application page, and everything is very, very specific. They're suggesting that you look through the colleges carefully and choose what fits your interests best, and then start your applications. So you can, the deadlines for regular decision with CUNY is February 1st. Macaulay Honors is a whole another conversation, and there's on the bottom of this page, it gives you or maybe it's the next page, they'll give you specifics where you can access the information about Macaulay. Macaulay has changed. I'm going to come back to CUNY right now. I'll get to Macaulay. All right, so you're going to fill out the application. You can add up to 6 colleges right now. I'll get to Macaulay. On an application. All right, so you're going to fill out the application. You can add up to 6. I'm getting an arrow. So you're going to fill out the application. Do you hear it? I get an echo. I'm echoing. And now my PowerPoint's gone. I think we're out. Can you hear me?
1 second. I'm sorry. It kind of got lost. Give me a second, please. 1 second.
Yep. Are we still on?
Yes, I think we're good now. I just need to get back to where we were. Excuse me. And then here we go. We're back.
Okay. All right. Sorry about that. All right. So you can put up to 6 colleges on the application. It's a $65 fee for the freshman application. It's non-refundable. So after completing each section of the application, you're prompted to pay your application fee. Students will submit payment using MasterCard or whatever, Visa, American Express, e-check, or using the CUNY fee waiver. Students may also mail a check or money order payable to CUNY, so the address listed below. You're going to be given a CUNY first number, and you're going to put that on your money order. And you can find that number on the application summary. It's an 8-digit number. All right, and there's if you're mailing a check or a money order, there it is in the bottom there. CUNY UAPC, lockbox, mail code 8770, PO Box 7247, Philadelphia, PA. All right, so after submitting your applications, you'll receive emailed instructions on how to claim your CUNY First account. And then there's a self-service page which will display admission decisions and give students the ability to accept or decline the offer of admission. Okay. And just continuing on. We will provide, DOE students who provide the OSIS number will allow CUNY to retrieve the transcripts. As I said, since it's a public system, they can, with that OSIS number, they can go in and get your transcript. So it's pretty simple. If you have taken college courses, students who take college courses have the ability to report college coursework and self-report AP test scores. Students will be able to self-report standardized test scores on the application. As I said, they're not asking for them this year again. And then step 5, submit your application. After you submit, you'll be able to print or download a copy of your application summary. All right, and these are just all links to the application, and it really, they take you step by step through the whole thing. So it's very, very simple to fill out the application. And at the very bottom, you'll see for Macaulay Honors, you go to that website and they'll give you specifics. It's an earlier deadline. It used to be December 1st. Now it's November 16th. So be mindful of that. It comes up quick. Sophie Davis also is a special application and very specific ways of doing things. So make sure you go in there and check exactly what they're asking for, when they want it. Same with Brooklyn BAMD. All 3 of these are very competitive. So keep that in mind as you're applying, that there's not an awful lot of seats, and there's many, many people who are applying for those spots. Okay, and then we'll move to the SUNY applications. Okay, so SUNY, all SUNYs are on the Common App, but if you don't want to do it that way, you can do it, through this other avenue, the SUNY EDU, attend, apply to SUNY, how to apply. I suggest you use the Common App. It's simpler, but if you don't want to, then certainly you can follow the prompts for this. There's many, many SUNYs in the system, so you need to really decide where, hopefully you've already decided which one you're interested in and what curriculum you are interested in studying. And then you will print out the application worksheet. Will help you step by step and create your account, and then you're going to complete the application and, of course, pay the application fee. and it's $50 per campus selection. Okay. Once you submit your application, you'll receive confirmation of submission by email, and you can check back at Apply SUNY in 48 hours to view your application status online. Any additional forms? Well, we'll be sending any additional forms. So you're going to let us know where you're applying, and then we'll put in the our documentation. Make sure that you do any supplemental applications that they're asking for, same as you would for the private colleges. Submit your academic record. Of course, we'll be doing that through the transcripts to the colleges that you apply to. All right, and then wait for your decision. All right. So at this point in time, more than just about half of colleges are reporting that they're not going to be looking for SATs and ACTs again this year. If you have them and you want to submit them, then you are able to do so. But if you have not taken them, not to worry, because you can check to make sure that they're not asking for them, but many of them are not asking for them for this year as well. You have to check each individual college and see what their policy is for this year. Okay, next. Okay, so this is back to the application for fee waivers on the Common App. You'll be asked whether your financial circumstances qualify you for a fee waiver. So we have to verify that. So in order to do that, back to the lunch forms, and the website's on the bottom of the screen here, myschooapps.com. Make sure that you do that. It's very important. And once it's determined that you have that you are eligible for these fee waivers, if you've already received an SAT fee waiver, then you will have fee waivers through the Common App, College Board. But if you're looking through the Common App, then you need to make sure that you have that current form, because last year's form is not going to help you for this year. Okay. So any questions about fee waivers, you can contact Ms. Tana or Ms. Donna in the college office. Ms. Tana takes care of students' last names A to L, and Ms. Donna, students' last names M to Z, and their emails are right there on the form. Okay, next. Okay. In order to submit your supporting documents, you must match your Common App to our Naviance account. On the Common App, this is repetitive, but it bears repeating. I'm sure there's a question in the chat on this right now. So on the Common App, go to Apply Now, complete Educational tab, add at least one college, sign the FERPA, indicate that you're waiving your rights. Then on Naviance, go to Colleges I'm Applying To tab. Click the Match Account button, enter your email, date of birth, click Match Now. And that brings Common App to Naviance. All right. So as I said earlier, you can continue to add colleges and they will automatically come onto your Naviance. It's best practice that we know through that yellow sheet that Ms. Kirschbaum is going to talk about exactly what you're doing. You can't check 331 Naviance accounts every day. So you have to take the initiative to keep us informed as to what you're doing. Very important, communication. Okay, next. All right, so this is the FAFSA, which we're going to be having our meeting on the 23rd, so we don't have to go into this too much in detail. Everyone completes the FAFSA every year. So this is your maiden voyage. Once you fill it out once, the rest of the times that you're in school that you're filling it out is much easier because it saves your information and you just update things. So just make sure that you make that meeting September 23rd. And I do believe October 1st is when it opens up for people to start completing the FAFSA, which is, in recent years, this is much earlier than it has been in the past. So that's for all schools. So if you're going to considering private schools, often they will ask for the CSS profile, which is a more in-depth financial form that has to be filled out as well. So again, more information will be spoken about at the meeting in September, on the 23rd of September. Make sure that you attend. Okay, next. All right, so today, actually, we just started scheduling the visits. So some of them are going to be virtual, some of them are going to be in person. And you'll be given an email explaining how you can sign up for either the virtual or the in-person visits. So unfortunately, you have to check your emails constantly. And I have lots of empathy because I have to do the same thing all day long. But so much information is coming to you guys this year, especially, that you really have to stay on top of it. A lot of great colleges will be coming. And if they're not coming, they're going to be virtual. So if you're interested in speaking to anybody and hearing what the schools have to offer in a little bit more in depth, what's going on there, it's perfect way to do it. So check your Naviance account for the schedule and directions on how to sign up. All right, and this is all our information for the school. Believe it or not, some people still don't know the address. You just come because your mind has the memory to do that. But it's 45 Clawson Street, Staten Island, New York, 10306. We have our website, phone number, college office extensions, all the information that you could possibly need. And there are 331 of you all who are going to be graduating in 2022. So very exciting. Okay. I think that there's maybe one page left. All right. So you are tasked with familiarizing yourself with the particular colleges that you're interested in, any changes that they have made to their policies. So, as I said, many of them are going test optional again this year, but you have to really verify that for yourself. Make sure that your applications are done ahead of time. What a concept. It doesn't really bode well to wait till the last minute to try to submit your applications because many people are doing that. And systems can get bogged down. Things can happen where your computer won't connect or whatever. And they see when your applications come in, more importantly. And it shows, first of all, how prepared you have been and how interested you are in actually attending their school. If you're submitting at 11:59 and it's, by midnight has to be, it doesn't appear that you are really that interested in them. So keep all those things in mind. It's less stressful to just get them done. All right, so always sooner than later. Submit the yellow sheet to the college office by our deadline. You can make changes to that yellow sheet along the way until the 30th of November. You don't need to submit your applications by that time, just that yellow sheet. That's the most important thing. All the other deadlines are what the college says. We need the yellow sheet so we can make sure we have all your letters of recommendation in place and ready to go. And then you have to get your application done so we can connect it all. Any changes you make to your list of colleges, you must add or delete your choices on Naviance ends. Please let us know in the college office. Prepare to follow the FAFSA and CSS profile starting October 1st, especially for early decision, restrictive early action, and early action. Really important. Again, sooner than later to get this done. Keep up or improve your level of academic excellence. No senioritis. It's always interesting to me that juniors are so enthusiastic, and then senior year, you forget that you were enthusiastic as a junior. So please keep up the good work. You've been working hard all this time. Just be, mindful that all the colleges care right up until June of 2022. We send out a final transcript of how you have done. So it matters all the way through. Be mindful of social media postings. I know we talk about this all the time, and still people post things that are not terrific. Just be very careful. Sometimes the colleges will take a look at your social media account, and you don't want any, compromising things showing up there. Again, don't procrastinate for anything, not for your applications, for scholarships, especially honors colleges, special programs. It all just reflects on you. So just set aside the time to get it done. And remember that communication with the college office is absolutely essential. And our schedule is on the door. I think we're closed one period a day for our lunch, but otherwise, it's open. So good luck, and let's do it.
Thank you, Ms. Devine. We're gonna, before I begin to present about the yellow sheet, I figure we'll go through some of these questions. Okay. Is the yellow sheet due October 4th? That's dependent on your application type.
Right. For early.
So Brian Lum asks, is early action essentially the same as regular decision, but just earlier as mentioned?
No, because it has early deadlines, just like early decision. The difference is between early decision and early action, not early action and regular decision. Early action means you're applying early, you feel like you're a great candidate, and that you want to be considered and get your decision early. The difference is that it's not binding. So if you apply, you can apply early action to multiple colleges and then say no to all of them if you want. Unlike early decision, where you get one college and that's it, and it's binding.
So Dan, excuse me, I'm sorry. So Nika asked, what should we do if we already signed up for the Common App with a brand new email rather than the one we used for Naviance? So Nika, I believe that you could change your email by emailing the Common App. However, I guess, that's a tricky question, because I would say that right now, Ms. Devine, what do you think? Do you think it's just change it back to whatever it is on the Common App?
Change the Naviance email?
Yeah.
So I think that would be cleaner.
And if you have not opened up your Common App and created an account yet, use the email on your Naviance. Okay, so Nika, you would have to change that, because you don't want to run into any problems, during application time. Nicole asks, my Naviance email is now my DO email, though, and I made my Common App account before that email existed, so it's impossible for them to be the same. So same advice, Nicole. Go into Naviance and change it to whatever your Common App is. For those of you who did not start your Common App, though, use your DOE so that it's the same. Alan asks, how would we submit outside letters of recommendation? Ms. Devine, I think you answered that already, right?
Right. That goes through the Common App.
Okay. Barbara asked, if we're applying early decision, is the school sending my information on November 1st, just as I am, or prior to November 1st? Also, can I apply before college deadlines? So you want to talk about the timestamp and how we go in order, Ms. Devine?
Yeah. So this is going to come up in the yellow sheet discussion in a few minutes. When we receive your yellow sheet, we timestamp it. So date and time. And then as we're processing applications, we're going to go by who gave us their yellow sheet first. And then we'll go through the applications in that manner. So the sooner that you're ready to go, then we're ready to go.
So we guarantee that your supporting documentation will be sent to the colleges that you're applying to based on the application type, if you submit the yellow sheet by the due date.
Right.
So that's why we have due dates, because if 100 students are applying early decision, that's why our due date is so much more in advance to what your early decision application due date will be, because we have you're one person and we have maybe 50 or 75 early decision at a certain due date. And we guarantee that it will be done if you adhere to the deadlines of the college office. So Miriam asked, does the Common App or Naviance let you know if teacher recs have been completed? Miriam, the teacher who's writing your recommendation letter has an option on Naviance where they could click a drop-down menu and it says completed. So yes, that'll be communicated to you. George, when do we need to submit our forms for FAFSA by?
So FAFSA is online, and that's going to be, you could start doing it October 1st. And you want to do it as close to October 1st as possible because they start processing, and then the colleges are going to start deciding who's getting what money, and you want to make sure that your FAFSA is done early before, or if anything is going to run out. You don't want to delay on anything to do with any of the parts of the college process, including FAFSA. But we're going to have that meeting on the 23rd.
So I'm gonna pause because we need, for the interest of time, I'm going to come back to some of the questions and I'm going to share my presentation on the yellow sheet. So let me preface before I begin talking about the yellow sheet, which we constantly talk about. I want to talk about what we created last year. Due to the COVID pandemic, we all know that schools were interrupted last year. We closed for a while, and then when we did come back, certain students chose to learn remotely. Certain students had to quarantine. So there was a lot of interruptions throughout the year. So prior to the school year starting last year, myself and the college office sat down and decided that we needed to create a system that was virtually online, in the sense that whatever situation a student was in, they would be able to communicate to us what their college plans were, and we would be able to do our part in making sure that the colleges they were applying to were receiving the supporting documents. And I will say, thankfully, it worked really well, and we were able to meet our side of the agreement with all of our students who were who applied to colleges last year. So what that means is we created a virtual college office. So to make matters even more confusing, I'm sure all the students know that we have left the SITS Google domain and we have entered the New York City Department of Education domain. And that's why all the students received email addresses that said, for example, I'm just looking at a name here, A Simone 24 at nycstudents.net. With that, there's a Google Classroom, and the students have access to their Google Classrooms depending on what classes they're scheduled for during the day. Can somebody please write in the chat that you have access to a Google Classroom called College Advisory? If anyone can just write in the chat that they have access to that Google Classroom, please. That's scary.
I don't even see the chat.
I do. Yes. Okay, good. I was getting a little nervous. It was delayed, I think, the chat. Okay, so parents who may not know, students have an actual Google Classroom. It's called College Advisory. All 332 students were preloaded already into this Google Classroom. Students, I can't stress enough, if you do not know your DOE username and password, we need to get that to you, okay? That's super important. You should be checking the College Advisory Classroom once a day until you are completely done with your college applications. And even then, you still need to check it because there's so much more that needs to be done. So this should be like your math class, your history class. This should be a class that you're checking into every day. The reason why is because it is a virtual college office, which means that all of the college rep visits are going to be posted there. All of the directions for doing things are going to be posted there. all presentations, all slideshows, all reminders. So that's the way that we're going to communicate to all of you, regardless if we happen to, and I don't even want to say it out loud, close down or have to switch to remote, or a student has to quarantine. You will still have access to us, okay? So what's going to happen tomorrow is that there's going to be an assignment that's going to be posted. There's only one assignment that's posted on this Google Classroom the entire year, and that is the yellow sheet, because I don't want to confuse you. Everything else is posted on the stream. All right, so I'm going to go over this yellow sheet. The yellow sheet basically is, think of it as a mirror to what your Naviance Colleges page looks like. So whatever is listed, whatever colleges are listed on the colleges tab of your Naviance account is going to be listed on the yellow sheet. Now, like everything, there might be changes that you want to make to your yellow sheet, and I'm going to explain how you're going to do that. So in the past, the yellow sheet was an actual yellow sheet, and students wrote down, their college plans and submitted it, walked it into the college office. What we did was we created the yellow sheet in a digital version. So you would submit it by the due date that's listed in the PowerPoint presentation, and that will be, I'll remind you 1,000 times on the stream of the College Advisement Google Classroom. You're going to submit this yellow sheet. Never, ever unsubmit it and resubmit, okay? If you have a change that you need to make, there's going to be a Google form on the stream that you're going to basically have to fill out, and we will make the change for you on the yellow sheet. Remember, you're responsible for making the change on your Naviance page. So if you thought if you have Harvard on your yellow sheet and you've submitted it, and then you've decided that you're not going to apply to Harvard, but you're going to apply to 2 more schools, you need to, make those changes on Naviance and then communicate those changes to us so that we keep the yellow sheet accurate to what is going on your Naviance Colleges page. All right. So now I'm going to bring up the yellow sheet and show you what it looks like and go over everything with you. So give me 1 second. That's not a side to you. It's just my computer's running slow. Okay. I'm going to open. Okay, here we go. There's 1,000 buttons. Okay, does everyone see this? Ms. Devine, do you see this?
Yes.
Okay, great. So this is basically our operations and what we do to assist kids in the college application process. So this quick presentation is going to show you how the yellow sheet plays an important role in the processing of your supporting documents for your college applications. Again, let me reiterate, what are the supporting documents? Okay, so the college office is responsible for sending your recommendation letters, your teacher recommendation letters, your school recommendation letter, which comes from the school, your transcripts throughout the year. And I did hear a student write in the chat, could we check our transcripts for accuracy? Of course, next week you all will be receiving a paper copy of your permanent record in your English classes. So you will have that, and you will be notified by email that that's coming to you, and that if you see any, if you have any questions or you see an error of some sort, that you should see your guidance counselor immediately. So we are responsible for sending the colleges the school profile, which is basically a map that shows the colleges what our school offers, and what are all the different programs in our school and things of that nature. Our grading scale. The other thing that we're responsible for is school information. That's basically the fact that what our GPA range is. Again, we do not rank, so that's noted on there as well. So all the pieces of documentation that kind of attach to what you're doing in terms of your college application, your supplemental essays, your Common App essay, things of that nature. Okay, so let's take a look. So let's look at some important due dates for the college office for us to process your documents on time. So this is not correct. So I don't know why this is showing 2020. So I'm going to skip that and we'll go over that again. Okay. So the yellow sheet has been formatted into a fillable PDF document. Prior to doing the yellow sheet, what you all should pay attention to, and I've emailed you about 3 different times since August, is there is a Naviance survey. Okay, we do not take your answers word for word, but it allows us to know who you are as a student and then package you correctly when we write your school letter of recommendation. So the same way you have to package yourself when you ask a teacher for a recommendation letter is the same way you have to package yourself when the school writes your recommendation letter. So I think I've talked about this maybe in the senior meeting part 1. A teacher recommendation letter is going to be very explicit to who you are and what you did in that particular classroom, where a school letter recommendation letter is a more broad overall letter regarding who you are as a student within the school. And so in order for us to package you correctly, we need every student to complete that, that survey on Naviance, okay? All right, so let's take a look at the yellow sheet. So at the top left side of the yellow sheet, which is going to be posted at 8 a.m. tomorrow in your assignments page, is your information. Everything is pre-slugged, so it's like a PDF document that's fillable. So you're just gonna, you write your name, your first name, your last name. If you're applying to any accelerated medical programs or pharmacy programs, you're gonna have to check that off. The middle center right of the yellow sheet. So you're going to basically list all the colleges that you plan to apply for. Are you applying for on the Common App? You make sure you put an X next to that. If it's school specific, if it's Macaulay Honors, right? And then you have to type in the type of decision that you are applying under. So is it ED, ED2? Is there a priority deadline? I saw somebody talking about an October 15th deadline. That's something that you're going to have to write on there. So, and then what is the actual college deadline? Okay. All right. And then Questbridge or Posse. So you're going to have to fill all that out, and all that is also going to be filled out on your Naviance. So you're not submitting the yellow sheet to us unless everything is done on Naviance first. Okay. So the middle right of the yellow sheet, just so you know, you don't touch. That's for the college office staff to complete. So basically, if you take a look, transcript, we mark off the date in which we sent the transcript to the colleges. We mark off when we send our school letter, the teacher evaluation recommendation letters, and when we sent it. All right, we mark that. So we keep a copy of that as well. So we know exactly what is going on, what documents are being sent, when is it being sent. The bottom left side of the yellow sheet, the student completes. It's the teacher recommendation letters in priority order. And there's no changes to priority order once the sheet is submitted. So for example, let's say you have asked Mr. McCullough and Mrs. Brown to write your letters of recommendation. Understand that certain colleges will only allow for one letter of recommendation. So if you put Mr. McCullough as number 1, Mr. McCullough's letter of recommendation is going to be the one that's sent because Binghamton only will accept one letter of recommendation. Sometimes it gets a little bit tricky because, we have a student who's applying to Binghamton and we have maybe Mrs. Brown's letter of recommendation, number 2, but we don't have Mr. McCullough's letter. So that's why it's really the responsibility of the student to make sure that the teachers that have agreed to write your letters are aware of when you need those letters by. And if you don't see their letter in your Naviance as being completed, it's great to have a conversation with the teacher to remind them or ask them, when this will be completed in the most polite way possible. Okay. So the bottom left-hand side of the yellow sheet requires a digital signature. So if you're applying ED1 or ED2, The student and the parent must provide a digital signature of approval. Complete this section by typing the name of the student and the name of the parent to serve as a digital signature. Remember, certain ED decisions are binding. So we want to make sure that you and your parent are aware of that, and that you're knowledgeable of that, and you've agreed to the terms of that, and that you're signing to inform us that you're aware of that. The bottom right corner of the yellow sheet is completed by the college office staff only. So you don't have to worry about that. Again, that's for our note taking to make sure that we're doing things by the due date and adhering to it. Okay, so let me get out of here so that I can escape from here for a second. I'm sorry. Let me stop sharing. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to go over some of the, do we get to see the letters of recommendations? Tara, no, you don't, because remember, you're waiving your FERPA rights. So at that point, you do not see the, and I will say this, you're going to waive your right to see the letters of recommendation as well. The reason is, well, Ms. Devine, would you like to speak on that? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, first, you should be making sure that the teacher you're asking has something good to say about you. No teacher is going to say yes to a recommendation if they don't feel like they can write something that's going to help you. So it's just, it's just important to choose who you're asking wisely and, trust the process.
Daniel asked what the school specific means. And that's what Ms. Devine was talking about, for example, like Georgetown. So Georgetown University does not accept applications through the Common App. So Georgetown requires you to apply through their portal. And then Georgetown notifies us that we need to upload certain supporting documentation through them. So that's what school specific means. Can I print out the yellow sheet and fill it out by hand and then submit it as a scanned PDF file? I mean, I don't see why not. Like I said, tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., that yellow sheet will post. And our presentations will also be posted on the classroom stream. So what a savvy student can do is they can begin the process, meaning that they could reread the presentations quietly. And then if you have a plan already in place and you know your list, or start beginning your list, you could start creating your list on Naviance, and then you're just going to basically you're just going to fill out the yellow sheet exactly the way it appears on your Naviance page for your colleges. And then you're going to take a look and you're going to say, okay, well, I have an ED college, or I have an ED and ED2 college on my sheet. What is my due date that I have to make sure that yellow sheet gets submitted through the Google Classroom to the college office? Okay. So, you have to start, basically, you take it slow. That's why we're giving this presentation on September 14th, and this is the second part of the presentation, right? So the first part was in June, so that you took some time over the summer to figure out, what's my college list going to look like? Again, Ms. Devine is in room 139. I'm actually, she's available for questions. Mrs. Tana and Mrs. Donna, basically what they're going to do for you is that they have access to your NYC students email because they're on the classroom. So if you submit your yellow sheet and there is issues with it, they're going to return the yellow sheet back to you with a comment or directions on what you need to do, or what you're missing, or what you did wrong. So there'll be ongoing communication until that yellow sheet looks good on their end. And the way you know that yellow sheet looks good on our end is that they're going to actually give you a grade. Now, the grade doesn't count. It doesn't go anywhere. But that's the way okay, my yellow sheet is complete. They're going to give you 100, okay? And you'll know, all right, so the college office has my information. My Naviance matches it. I'm on the Common App. I've linked everything. they're going to send you reminders of that. The main thing I stress is that know the college office due dates, okay? That is so important to know the due dates depending on what your application types are. On the stream, again, is going to be a Google form. That's going to be a form that if Nicole submits her yellow sheet and it looks great and she, we've accepted it, she gets that 100, but I want to add another college or things of that nature. There's going to be a form that Nicole's going to fill out. This is what I want to change. And then we will take care of that on our end. You just have to make sure you change it on Naviance. Okay. Can we send the yellow sheet earlier? Possibly. You can submit the yellow sheet as early as you want, as long as everything has been done in terms of the directions on the PowerPoint, that you've matched your Naviance to your Common App, that you've put your colleges on Naviance. Miss Donna and Miss Tana will kind of know that, believe it or not, when you submit your yellow sheet. They'll know if you're missing steps, and they're going to communicate that to you, okay? Because they basically cut the alphabet in half by last name, and they're responsible for where your last name falls. And they will be going back and forth. That's why, like I said, it's so integral that you stay on top of this classroom, because this is a way for you to be able to get ongoing feedback on anything that you need. All right. All right. So can we continue to use our Staten Island Tech email? No, because the Google Classroom is on the NYC DOE Google domain. So when Miss Donna and Miss Tana get your yellow sheet and there's a change or they need to talk to you, they're going to be emailing you to your at nycstudents.net email account. All right. So gone is the day of the SITS stuff. Okay. We're all on the NYC DO8. So you need to use your NYC. Very good. Yes. Thank you, Mr. Erlenwine. You gotta kind of own that and get used to it. Okay. The great thing was about the NYC DOE domain is that it pre-joined all of you to the Google Classroom. Whereas last year in the SITS domain, I was chasing down students who weren't joining the college office Google Classroom. And it was disheartening because there was so much information that was being shared through that classroom. And, if you come late to it or you're going to miss out, so we're responsible for providing you with all the instructions you need to make sure that, your college application process goes as smoothly as possible. But you're responsible for making sure that you adhere to the deadlines of the college office, that you're paying attention to the information that we're sending out to you, and that you're, again, adhering to your own college application deadlines, okay? And that means like completing the application for the college, paying whatever fees it is, making sure all the essays are done and things of that nature. Ms. Devine, do you have any lasting comments or questions? I'm trying to go up and see if there's any other questions that maybe we didn't. Let me just scroll up. What if you did? All right. We can see. Are our rec letters automatically uploaded to the app when they are submitted, or do we have to do something to add them?
We add them.
We add them. So rec letters don't come to the Common App. Because it's linked, we send the rec letters to the colleges. Think of it like an electronic package of paperwork that we send, okay? When or where can we see our transcripts with our official GPA? And I explained next week, you'll receive that in your English class. How does early action and decision work, and what are the deadline specifics of it?
Well, both early action and early decision have a November 1st deadline for the application. However, the college office, I can't say this enough, is October 4th, because last year there were over 200 of you who applied early, for either early decision or early action. Lots of paperwork has to be attached to every application. So we need the time to do it. So again, October 1st is the deadline that you should have in your head for us, and you have until November 1st.
So no, Angie, we do not rank. we have not ranked for many, many years. Okay, so that's something that we don't do in our school. Julia asks, will someone from the college office be able to review the Common App before we submit it and check for accuracy or answer questions? So we do not personally review your Common App. If you have any questions about the Common App, you can ask the staff in the college office. Mitchell says, how do we get the yellow sheet again? Again, Mitchell, it's going to be posted as an assignment, and every student gets their own yellow sheet, okay, a copy of it. Ms. Devine, Eve asks, how can you send your SAT score to some schools but not others? When the Common App asks for your SAT score, does it show it to every school?
You can send the scores directly through the College Board. And then you'll tell them what schools you want to have your scores.
And Alyssa, yes, you'll send those official SAT scores by the application deadline, correct, Ms. Devine?
Yes.
Yes. Should I use a personal email instead of the school email for Common App and Naviance, Ms. Devine?
It's important that it's the same. I don't know that it's important that it's a school email, but that it's the same for Common App and Naviance.
And the reason why we're saying that we want it to be the school email is because when we send information out via Naviance email, it's going to go to whatever email address is registered with Naviance. And the problem is that if you have so many different email addresses, are you checking all of them with everything else that you have on your plate on a daily basis? The Common App allows you to change your email even if you've already made the account, by the way. Great. Thank you, Alston. Thank you very much for giving that information. I explained what the yellow sheet is. If we choose to submit SAT scores, should we send them individually to colleges through College Board?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so do we have to switch our Common App accounts to the new DOE email? You have to make sure it matches, okay? That's how you're able to link it. Once we've completed all the questions and supplemental essays for our college, can we submit that application? Do we have to wait for confirmation that our rec letters have been completed and sent? No, you do not have to wait. Remember, that's what we're responsible for, right? So you're responsible for everything on the college side, whatever they're asking you as a student to complete in terms of your college application and the fees that have to be paid. Ms. Devine, Nicole asked, do you need to use Common App if you're only applying for CUNY?
No, CUNY doesn't go through Common App.
Okay. Yes, Gabe, there's an EA as well. It's there. You'll see it tomorrow morning. Julia asks, when entering courses, do we indicate that all regular non-AP courses are honor level?
Correct.
Yes. How should multivariable calculus be marked? Is it college level course since it's not official in AP course? That's more detailed. Julia?
Yeah, it's a college level course.
Okay. So Alston says, I was able to link my Naviance and Common App without having the same email. We don't recommend it. How do we submit SAT scores for the Common App if we plan to super score?
I think that the colleges want the actual score reports. You can self-report, but eventually they're going to ask you for the actual report. So you're going to have to go through the College Board.
Okay. So this is the last question I'm going to ask. If we use school email, how can colleges contact us after graduation from Staten Island Tech? Well, you're going to be in your college, so you're going to have a college email address at that point. So after you graduate from Staten Island Tech, you're already going to know what college you're attending. Unless I'm reading that question wrong, Ms. Devine?
No, that's what I'm understanding, that, You're not going to continue with your Staten Island Tech email. You're going to have whatever college that you are attending, they will give you an email.
Okay. So at this point, I'm going to look over the questions again tomorrow morning, and I will create an FAQ. Ms. Devine and myself will also post on the stream this presentation on the yellow sheet, as well as Ms. Devine's presentation. Again, any more specific questions, please stop by the college office. We're in room 139. It's a nice big office now. You'll also start seeing college rep visits. Just like I said, everything that you need to know will be posted on that college advisement Google Classroom. Okay. Your son's GP, and the last question, your son will be getting a permanent record next week. The GPA will be on that permanent record. I will be sending an email out to parents and students prompting them what day they will be receiving this permanent record in their English class. And that's going to be one day next week. Okay. So thank you. I know this was long. I know there's a lot of information. But we are here to support you. We're here to help you. Just like Ms. Devine said, please stay in communication with us. Please read, please check your emails. And I'll turn it over to Ms. Devine to conclude this presentation.
Okay. So I'm hoping that all of you have decided the list of schools that you are going to apply to already. I'm going to warn you against adding schools in a panic, because somebody talked about a school you hadn't considered, and now you're adding all these schools to your yellow sheet and Naviance. So every time you add a school, you add a supplemental essay, and every essay needs to be done very thoughtfully. So it's a lot of work. So better to do a moderate amount of applications that you've really given your all to than multiple, excessive applications that, you're rushing because you feel like you have to. So everybody's going to college, 100% go to college every year. It's just where you're going is the question, but you're going and you will be successful wherever you end up. So please don't be a stranger. 139 is our new location. We're actually returning because years ago, that's where the college office was. So kind of back home. Don't be a stranger, pop in, ask a question, and we'll help you. And you're going to get to the other side before you know it.
Yep, we'll be celebrating soon and congratulating soon.
Yes.
Okay. All right, everybody, check the college advisement classroom. Oh, you're on mute, Mr. Erlenwine. You're on mute.
Thank you for that, Mrs. Kirschbaum, Ms. Devine, all of our guests who joined us tonight, Mr. Jerusa, all of our families, thank you for joining us tonight. We have more of these types of presentations coming up in our next few weeks, starting next Tuesday at 7 p.m. for our PTA meeting and our new parent orientation. So have a good night, and we'll see you real soon.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.